Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command, World War II World at War with our first ever PvP against SirTravis. It is July 4th of 1941. We've progressed into this turn and we started looking a lot at Germany, spent their MPPs real quickly. There were a lot of things calling to spend some MPPs on. And we've handled a lot of attacks, not all of them. Still some movements to be done. And more on this turn. For example, I noticed last episode that the first army here could do some pretty big damage to this enemy core right here, so I think I will go ahead and take that risk. Dealing the 3 promised damage and 0 damage as expected. We have wiped out an enemy unit that was right here, was an army. Wiped out, I don't know if it was an army, no, a cavalry right here. This was actually our least productive thing because it was worth the least, but we took the most damage wiping that out, more than wiping out a fortified army. It was entirely just like medium bombers and Romanians that did this. The Romanians pushed across the Dnieper here. Cutting off actually Crimea from the north and kind of extending this line, hopefully gonna make him freak out because now he's like, oh, I have to plug this up, oh, I have to plug this up, or I have to run this away. He's gonna have to freak out over there. I was tempted to move maybe this core up to the Dnieper here, but I don't think it's smart. I know he'll focus heavily on it, but I don't think it will break his morale enough to make him just run. I think he will try to get a kill on a core, because that's more than he's accomplished in most fronts as like one decisive action. It's more than he feels he's accomplished as any decisive action, and I don't want to hand him an action he might view as decisive. Up here we have an interesting situation. It's not nearly as like well defended as down here is. He really wants to stop me in the south from getting to Stalingrad. Probably to stop me from getting to the oil down here. It's probably his goal. That's been my thought. But I initially put most of my forces up here, and I still believe there is more power up here anyway, with a tactical bomber focus and more HQs in general. We need to continue our attack here, even if we are perhaps a little injured, without money to really bring it. Oh, you know, I do have enough money to bring it up a little bit, but I think I was going to put that maybe on a tank. I don't know. We'll see. We'll start with some tactical bombing against the 4th Army here at I can't see the name of the place. Vitebsk. Let's try that, because that's my goal right now, is taking Vitebsk up here. We dealt 2 damage. We took none. That's way better than it said we would do. Now, I had checked before, we were going to take 1 damage, deal 1, I think, roughly, but now it's 0-1 prediction. Well, we took 1, dealt none, so it still worked out pretty poorly. Let's try another tactical bombing, maybe? Maybe, I don't even know if that's needed. Huh, well, let's see. The 8th Army is set to be able to do a lot of damage here, surprisingly. I guess because it has more XP. Let's go ahead and do that. 5 damage dealt, none received. I'm sure anybody else could just move up and finish this guy off. But since it is an army, the 10th Army right next door with a prepared attack is probably the better option. So let's just go finish that off. Unfortunately, we took 1 damage, I was hoping to prevent, but we did wipe out the enemy force there. Now. What to move up here with? Either an army or like a tank. I think a tank would be sweet, because then we could attack this fighter that's here, potentially dealing a bunch of damage, even if it is across a river. It's also an enemy tank here as well, a tank that is well protected from armor, because it's in a marsh, not very well protected from air, which is why I didn't want to bomb that again. Made me potentially lose something off an army, however, so the practicality could be questionable. I'll say fuck it, let's move the Africa Corps tanks up. Yeah, it's pretty good odds against that. We could actually wipe it out completely. The Baltic fighters, he never reinforced them and he left them on that front. Little did he know what my target was. Let's break right through them then. Wiping out one of his fighters, that is a really expensive thing to lose, you guys. I think I know how I'm going to spend these MPPs. We're going to reinforce this tank, get it back up to 10. It needs to upgrade anyway, so I think that's a pretty good place to put it. Now, we could potentially do some pretty good damage to this tank, because being in a marsh, it is more vulnerable to fighters. Or to bombers. So let's go ahead and try to bomb it. Dealing 3 damage. Taking none, we were supposed to take 1. This injured tactical bomber could get some good damage in as well against these light tanks, so let's try it. 3 damage dealt. None taken. Okay, yeah, shit, for being injured. That worked out pretty well. All the bombing runs are done. And now my tank could use its second attack here. Sadly, not wiping out the enemy light tanks, but getting pretty damn close. And now, once again, I believe it just about anything could actually just go ahead and wipe this out. I do wonder if the first core would be enough. Theoretically, right? Even if it is only level 1 infantry weapons, it should be fine. There you go. So that was enough to wipe that out. It's not bordering anything, so it could still upgrade probably pretty easily. Reinforcements are due, potentially, for these armies right here. So especially this one, which could have an elite reinforcement as well. Now we have a proper army that's going to want to be moving up, but it's a matter of, well, what side do I attack from? The city's on the other side. Supply will be pretty similar all around no matter what. Moving this army into position wouldn't be too rough. Hell, we could get 2 armies in position right now if we just completely ignore Gomel. But ignoring Gomel is not necessarily the smartest thing. If I dedicated more armies up here, then we would push towards Moscow better. I have no bombers to support anything that happens over here. I initially moved over here, you know, maybe out of a thought of, oh, maybe we push that way, maybe we don't. I'm not really sure. It might be better to just put a core there and hold off defensively. Just kind of looking at how it works. Oh yeah, speaking of, I've got to keep an eye on all this. Why is this purple? Attached to HQ. But why are you purple? I'm not used to that being purple. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe just leave like a well upgraded core right here as a defensive fixture. Maybe like 2. Maybe just like this one and this one, because they are not upgraded yet anyway. And then maybe it's just swap them around, leave them back there to get upgraded. So I can move this army up and then we can have an army on either side. Because Smolensk is more important than Gomel. Gomel's not in my way for anything. It's really irrelevant. And I don't want to dedicate bombers there until later. So rather than hold this army up, let's say, yeah, let's move the 3rd army forward right up to here. And we could see, we could deal, oh my god, big damage right there. Holy shit. I don't think we could exploit that any further than just that amount. We might be able to get a core up into here as well. Look at that. To attack his HQ in the back. That would be a big freaking deal. And thankfully, these are only cores here, no matter what. So let's get the 14th Army and move that up towards Smolensk. Able to do maybe a little bit of damage this turn against this armored train. I don't know. We'll see. He's got some proper tanks, not the like the light tanks we blew up already, but some proper tanks over here. Okay, yeah, let's just take these. Oh man, these cores that are not quite as upgraded and use them as a defensive fixture there. That's fine. You gotta make sure Von Lieb stays protected. Putting some cores up here just to take defensive fixtures across the river would be ideal, I think. Making him attack over the river would be interesting. I feel like he would do it just to be able to deal damage, because these are armies, is one thing to note. So against cores, they have a bit of an advantage, while our cores are better upgraded, so maybe there's some value in that. I'm not really sure. Our supply would be pretty decent up front now. Yeah, let's say we do that. Move you up, take defensive fixtures along the front. You won't be entrenched at first, so you'll be pretty easy targets. And by easy, I mean easy to decide to attack. That's what I mean by easy. We'll move this core up into the marsh. It's not gonna be able to do really too amazing of damage, but maybe he'll get really terrified of it, because I don't want to risk 1 to 2 odds. Well, it's a core against an HQ. An HQ is definitely expensive compared to a core. It could still be worth it, even if it doesn't work out too great. But he's not going to be in supply where I can really fix him up very easily if this does go wrong, this attack. So I think I'm going to use him as more of a scare factor. Just like, hey man, better move that HQ. I got a core about to hit it. I think that's what I'm going to kind of have this be. You can also swap in a different guy right here. The guy that's not as upgraded. But there is always the chance he decides to advance through the marsh and attack this by land. So I don't want to actually have this be too weak of a position now that I'm up there. So we're not going to have that be weak of a position. Just to really scare him off though, we're going to swap this army forward there to share like a zone of control up here, a little injured or not. It would scare him away from this better. Maybe set something else up if I, just don't reinforce that next turn. We'll see. I have 2 more cores to use. They're not exactly in the positions that I would want them to be. unfortunately, but we can still make something work here. Probably. Yeah, let's move the 30th Corps down right here. Let's move the 1st Frontier Corps over to the frontier. Move the Africa Recon probably right here is what I'm thinking. I could go further ahead. This would be all my action points to get that far, though. To just see what's on Bryansk. He may, like, pivot down, because he may not have expected me to break through over here this quickly. So, I couldn't really get there before him anyway. So I'm just going to move my recon right here, across the river, kind of out of harm's way. See how he reacts to this new front. Yeah, his defense is really spread out here. It's not very well set up compared to down south, where he set up everything he could across the Dnieper, which thankfully we are plowing through at a rate that I think is probably fine. He's committing so strongly that so far it feels like we're decimating his forces at a rate which he would not be able to keep up with in terms of the approaching winter. Now, I don't think there's any other attacks down here or movements that I'd want to do. I'm so tempted to attack this, but this is an army we're talking about, and I don't want to just start casually throwing away MPPs on armies, especially on a blitz attack instead of a prepared attack, especially given that we might just uproot his defenses here anyway, because he might just be scared of the fact that the Romanians have gotten across the river. God damn this autosave. Now, we have quite an interesting situation in Finland. I operated from up here to down here, a garrison to stop him from moving any further in the center here, because I wouldn't be surprised if he did some weird suicidal tactic to try to hurt the Mannerheim HQ. So I'm being a little offensive here, because he just took Viipuri, he's not entrenched, and it has 0 supply currently. It is in range of Leningrad, so it doesn't need supply. The army here still has 10 supply, but still. He just took it, he's not entrenched. This is the perfect time to be a little offensive. We're very dug in here for entrenchment, but let's go ahead, do some artillery strikes. Dealing 1 damage, I didn't even expect to do any damage, so that's awesome. Dealing 1 damage, the odds are a little more in our favor, but also maybe not that great. Go ahead and arty again some more. Okay. 1 to 3 is better than 2 to 3. These are the exact odds that I don't want to take a risk on down here with the Hungarians, with one key difference being is that this is an enemy army and not an enemy corps or something, which means our total fighting power here is actually better. And I don't think that anti-air, yeah, that's not even worth as much as a corps. Not to mention corps themselves. Corps versus armies in value, that's a big difference. Let's see if we can put him on the back foot here. Dealing 3 damage, taking no damage. Okay, we got lucky there. Not sure if I want to push my luck any further with a 1-to-1 odd with a corps, because then he might just double down attacking this corps, which isn't entrenched because it's on a lake. And the lake doesn't give any bonuses to defense at all. The Arty is its only defense, and I don't know if we'll immediately have 2 defensive shells or even 1 defensive shell after using it offensively anyway, so that might be enough of that for me. I think it's safely time to move up some of these fucking bombers. How far? Depends. I think we're safe to come up here. He's got not enough forces to break through here. And then you follow, and then you follow, and then I don't want to move all the way up. We only have a range of 5, though. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd have to be that far to get the ability to even fly over there. 3, 4, 5. Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, that would be in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'd be kind of the same range. Okay, let's go ahead and just move you just straight east. And then we don't really need to keep von Rundstedt all the way back here. I don't have money to do any replacement. No, von Rundstedt, he's kind of permanent. Let's go ahead and just move von Rundstedt forward. Just as forward as possible. Which will vastly improve supply over here as he bounces it up to 8, like being on top of Wilno proper. The supply over here will improve a decent bit. We need someone else moving to the front. No time to get any mobility upgrades or anything. This fighter, one of these fighters, is going to have the ability to move forward, certainly. We don't have enough range to really protect the front otherwise. Oh, but I kind of want one, like, in the back where I can reinforce it. But given that we already don't really have enough supply up here, enough capability to attach to HQs, it's a tough sell. I'll put you in the back so that you can recover. And I'll move you up enough to cover everything as well. This anti-tank still hasn't even been upgraded. I'm not sure where I would leave it anyway. I don't want to get it in his visual distance where he can be like, oh, look, a target. Or anything like that. Let's just move it over to the east here for now. We don't have money to upgrade it or anything, so this is really the best I could do. Minsk. Minsk is bouncing supply a little bit, I think. Not really. Von Manstein could probably move forward fairly soon as well. But not quite yet. I'd say we take at least another turn. Oh yeah, that's right. We could still potentially do some big damage here. Let's try it with the 3rd Army against this enemy corps that's just out here in the open, dealing 4 damage, taking no damage. Okay, it wasn't the 5 we were promised, but it was something. What about this potential 1 damage here? All right, we got the 1 damage. We take no damage, and we get some XP. Seems like a win to me. So his front line here is kind of weakened, especially right here. I think this makes this place less in threat than it was before. He is going to have to give this town up to me, I feel. I don't know if he has the troops to really just claim this, unless he gives up right here. He may be trying to be offensive over here, and I'm paying to get a lot of Finns to make sure that we do hold, and can even fight back. But also, the Germans are racing up there as well. Leningrad's going to fall, maybe not to the Finns themselves, but to the Germans, which was actually always the plan, to just have the Germans get up there as well, not just rushing Moscow, because, you know, this time around I understand the importance of killing as many Soviets as humanly possible before you actually get to the final capitals. Because USSR is a wily one. The Finns, once the USSR falls, I have no idea what I would use the Finns for, honestly. Probably something just, you know, less important, like maintaining a secondary front. I know I talked about somewhere over here maybe turning up to be a secondary front. It should be in 2 turns, I think, that he can pull off the invasion of Persia. So I expect him to do that. And if he does, this will be opened up permanently as a front. That much is for sure. And if he does, that's where the Finns could probably be really helpful. Just ship the Finns eventually. Plus, you know, send over like the Romanians, etc., to just holding a front in this region. While the Germans take on all the more important things. That's most of what we're doing as the Germans. I'm pretty sure there's not much else left. We do have potential garrisons to deploy, but I don't think there's any need to get any garrisons shipped up just yet. I know we do need to buy more garrisons. I know we need more of those. I got a Romanian garrison pumping out. Thankfully, the lines are not moving so fast that I have like any desperate need for anything like that or anything, so that much is good. This submarine's in a very interesting position because I don't know if he's like... if he has a destroyer up here, he's probably got more around here in general. This thing is kind of not enough to max out damage against Canada, UK, so going against America, UK, or UK, USSR here wouldn't necessarily be extra productive or anything, so no matter what it raids, it's fine. It's fine. I just don't want to accidentally run into any destroyers. Let's try to just go down a touch. I feel like I want to move more, but I don't know. He has so many destroyers in the area. He's not running into me. I don't know what he's doing. I guess this is good enough for now. If he runs into me, we'll just find a way to try to get out then. But for now, that should be okay. He'll raid either America or Canada. The ones that are going to go northwest back out here will just go further down the line or something. He's probably moved from this region by now. I think I'm still going to keep trying to just try and brute force my way through here against these enemies. What's your hard defense? 2, 3. It's upgraded to 3. Your hard defense is 3. And most of these targets are hard. So you guys are basically the same. But you're doing overall a little bit worse. You have the same entrenchment. You have lower readiness, lower morale, and lower supply. It's expensive to break through here, especially for Italy, but I think his MPPs are stretched out enough. If these are only upgraded to 7, which is probably just because of their supply, but he's kept them there. He's trying to utilize that field artillery to its max. So a good way to waste his artillery is to use the already damaged cores in combat first. Let's go ahead and try it. Defensive arty fire. We dealt 1 damage. We took only 1 damage. So yeah, that worked out pretty well. And then we're going to do... Ooh. Okay, that's pretty cool. Damage potential's getting even better. We'll attack over here as well, just trying to make him use his defensive arty on less worthwhile targets. We took 2 damage, unfortunately, and dealt none. That's not really what you want. I haven't used my bombers, but I feel like they need to reinforce, so I'm not going to use them this time around. And then, I guess I'm gonna swap in this army here. Not sure where else it would really go. Everyone else is still a little bit injured. We do have this tank still. That's a thing. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna reinforce the first army. We're gonna reinforce the 5th army. Burn through Italian MPPs right now. We are just going to swap in the 10th army because this guy can't really get out otherwise with the way things currently are. The supply is weird over here for sure. This is getting high enough supply that I think I can definitely go stand here to spread supply a little bit. I'm pretty sure. Let's move this corps out into the desert a touch. Ooh, we can't get there just yet, unfortunately. That's unfortunate. But I think putting the HQ here for now would actually maybe be a good idea for spreading supply. Right now, this one's doing a fair enough job, but I'm trying to just make room, really. And I can move a different guy over here for now, a different corps that we don't really plan on having upgrade or anything just yet. Or I could just do a normal swap. Well, let's move just this corps onto Siwa Oasis. Okay. And then this corps, which has not done an attack yet, will probably do his next. Against the tanks are the weaker ones. That's who we want to really weaken. So 2 damage dealt, 1 damage received. And there's still some more attacks here we can do. Yeah, you know, I don't know. What are you? What do you count as? Target type tank. Who's gonna do better against a tank? An unupgraded tank, a 4 damage value. And then there's an army, 3 damage value. And then there's a corps, which is only 2 damage value. So we're doing this with less capable damage values. Well, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? Okay. Well, in that case, we'll probably move corps here. No, I don't like that. It doesn't need to be this corps at all. God damn it, autosave. This corps can reach here. This army can go here. This corps could run there. This tank could go there. Yes, that seems like a good plan to me. Then what does this corps do? I have no idea. I guess it just gets out of the way. Let's move this garrison back. It's not going to be needed up here as soon as I really expected. Let's just try to get it out of the way. So move this corps away now that you've done your attack. Move you just back for now. Then we'll move this HQ over here, which is going to make supply right here a touch worse, but it's not that bad. Eventually, it's still pumping 8 apparently, which means it's probably going to get worse once we're over here, honestly, but still, it's okay. We can move other things up just fine. Like right here. That would make supply here worse, though, so shit, dude, I don't know. There's a lot of things happening right now. Move this corps forward just to face off against the army because we don't need anything too special there. The army goes onto the hill, and the tank goes out into the field facing down with the enemy tanks. I think we could kill this. Yeah, I think we could kill this for sure. Now, the effectiveness of the order is really probably going to be random, and we're going to take losses doing it, but we could wipe out an enemy tank, and tanks are expensive. Tanks are 250 MPPs a piece. That's as expensive as an army, really. We'll see what we could do here. Let's go ahead and use... it doesn't matter, right? Because these are both worth the same amount. This can actually recover, but this isn't projected to take damage. Let's just try the army. We dealt 1 damage, and it actually just flat out ran away. Okay, so it's probably good that we did the army first, because then the tank can move forward. And then it could either hit the artillery, or it could hit the army. Good thing is, we still have supply up there. Let's move this corps up a touch for right now. You will stay right there. You can't really move even if you wanted to. We'll reinforce the fighter. Better air defenses for next turn. Maybe we just gang up on the army, because at this point, yeah, the arty's out of ammo. The arty is not worth... It's still worth a fair amount of MPPs. Heavy artillery? Yeah, 200 MPPs. That's worth quite a bit. Well, this is field artillery, but still. It's worth a bit, but we can't do as much damage potentially. We also have another corps here. We're trying to take advantage of a weakened, unsupplied army. You know, we hurt his tanks a bunch, and now we can hurt the army a bunch. trying to just throw Italy at him, shrink the front, push forward against this front he's put up against us as much as possible. That's what we're trying to do here. So the tanks are going to be the best for that. Let's go ahead and throw them at the WGF army. Dealing, unfortunately, only 1 damage and taking 1 damage. But dealing 2 damage with a core and taking 1 damage, considering that's an army, we come out in the positive for that MPP trade. He's going to have to run that arty away, so it's not going to serve any defensive purpose next turn. He's going to have to either back out with this army or something. He will probably try to swap in this army, but I don't know who he's going to put in right here. Probably a core or the recon, something running away from over here. Regardless, we have him in a position where he is probably on the run. He might just try to reinforce, but that's what he did last turn, I think. But still, I don't think that would be the smartest thing for him. I think we definitely have him in a quite an interesting position, having destroyed the special forces over here, having his recon still in terrible supply. Everything over here was damaged now. His main front has kind of collapsed. His arty is exposed. Italy is pulling off things that I didn't really expect them to be able to pull off. So that's quite nice. 122 MPPs remaining. That's not really enough to do any research. It's not enough to buy the artillery that I was thinking of buying. We're just going to hold on to that 122 MPPs because, I mean, look how much we just spent. This turn, we just spent, like, that amount of MPPs. I don't think we earn exactly that amount of MPPs every turn. So let's go ahead and just save that for Italy for now. We are still already researching the level 2 of infantry weapons and naval weaponry and command and control. Yeah, we're like 3 shy for infantry warfare. So we're just going to leave that be. Just continue saving up. Italy, you have done what I needed from you this turn. I'm going to laugh if Italy somehow manages to take Egypt by themselves. He does have Lend-Lease now, so if he wants to pour everything into Egypt, he can. That's definitely an option. And now I can't look around because stupid fucking autosave. Iraq is holding out. Nothing we could really do on Iraq. For some reason, he decided to move over here. So now if he wants to attack, it's got to be across a river, which is dumb. He might be trying to just go all the way around in a loop-de-loop. He might be trying to take this. He keeps trying to bomb this village for some reason. It doesn't provide MPPs. A supply from it doesn't matter in this fight. I don't know why he's so concerned here. I don't know why he doesn't just go for the oil, but that's what's happening. So Italy's pretty much done. Japan has 314 more MPPs to spend. I say more because we've already put some heavy artillery down. Speaking of heavy artillery, our heavy artillery already deployed can continue to be a little bit of a nuisance to his frontline armies. And the NRG Corps is still pretty exposed here. He still refuses to, like, move up here for some reason. I don't know why he's so allergic to over here, but he is. I think I'm going to go on a little bit of an offensive at this point. I think we have that capability. The armies are all kind of where they need to be. Some of them are still moving into position, but they are filling up the front pretty well. So let's take this core because it needs to resupply anyway. For that, it's gonna have to move. So we dealt 3 damage on an attack and we took none. Let's swap that core back with the army on Wuhan. Holy shit, this can do a fuck ton of damage. Let's go ahead and attack. Completely wiping out the rest of that core in 1 attack and taking no damage. Level 3 experience, 2 elite reinforcements. You can accomplish a whole lot. That is a pretty good start to looking at Japan for this turn. However, there's still a lot more to do with Japan, and I am basically out when it comes to time for this episode, so we'll finish up Japan's side and probably end up with a break in the middle while we wait for him to return the turn. For now, though, hope you guys are enjoying how this is going. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.